So, hello and welcome. This is Erica Glessing, and I am the host of the Happiness Telesummit. And I am joined today by Deborah Ivanoff from the lovely coast of the North Coast. Where are you, Deborah?
I'm in Portland today.
Oh, nice. So, welcome.
Well, thank you.
So I want to tell you a little bit about Deborah. She's the Bean Coach. She teaches go-getters how to get more clarity, more confidence, more momentum, so they can move quickly and easily manifest more of what they want. She's a certified mediator, facilitator, and author of the book, How to Make More Good Stuff Happen. Who wouldn't want that? She coaches one-on-one in groups online, classrooms also, and she really helps you align with your inner preferences and overcome sabotage and resistance. And she can be found at thebeancoach.com. And I invited Deborah here today. I have had some exceptional results working with Deborah, so I want to just let you know my personal experience with Deborah over the years. She has coached some of the people that I respect greatly in the world, and I feel like what Deborah does somehow, she finds that spot that's like blocking you, and when she finds it, it's like a flippin' ocean of energy just. So today she's going to talk with us about happiness, and something that I like to tell people, and it's really funny, we were chatting, is I like to say it's a lot closer than you think. Like, you're a lot closer than you think. Like, you've been doing this, and you've been doing that, and you've been focusing on this. You're like, I'm going to be happy. I choose happiness. I hear that one more time, right? That's like it's just a choice. Hello. So Deborah's going to share with us today a little bit of her insight on It's Closer Than You Think, and then we're going to let Deborah mess with me again because she's so good at that. And help us find out, maybe break through some more stuff, because what could be better than that? So welcome, Deborah.
What can be better than that? Thank you. Thank you, Erica. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here on the second Happiness Telesummit again.
So why is it closer than we think? If I don't think it's close, how is it close?
Well, that's what I'd like to discuss a little bit, because it's so interesting. If you think about in our funny world, the way it is, we focus on what isn't happy, what we're not satisfied with, what isn't working so much. Now that's flipping, isn't it? People are learning how to focus on their preferences on what they do want, which is fantastic. But I think that's one of the reasons we think happiness is a lot further away, is because of our culture, which is that you have to pursue and chase and hunt down happiness, when in truth, happiness is always inside us, but its voice may be a little quieter than everything else that's going on in the world. And that's what I'd like to explore with you and with the viewers today, Erica. I want to help people learn or rediscover or deepen their own practice to connect with happiness anytime, anywhere. Because it is within us. We're just never taught how to access it.
I really like that. I think when we move out of, it's like there's a place of being in your day that's all about the have-tos and the shoulds, and it reminds me of my daughter's hamster.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that one to me, Erica. I'm not drawing the connection just yet.
It's like you're on a wheel, and you're trying, and you're on this little wheel, and you're going to get there someday, and you're going to get there someday, and you just keep doing this, and you just keep doing that. If you make more money, it's really important. We have to make more money, and we have to, bring up our kids better, and we have to have better clothes. We have to have, it's like, it feels like sometimes that wheel can almost be where you keep putting happiness over there, And I think maybe if you could just help show us how we can actually be in that space ourselves.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I noticed that as well, that we become conditioned or habituated. It becomes a habit to always be chasing after something that we do not have. when in fact it is inside of us. But I do want to focus for just a moment before we move into the exercise on something that I find gets in the way of us thinking that happiness is inside of us. And I love your hamster. We're going to use the hamster. Let's use the hamster, Erica, because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. If I'm a hamster and every day I wake up and I run and run and run on my little wheel, and I forget why I'm even doing that, and let's say as a hamster, one day the door is open and I think, oh, the world. But I'm in the habit of running, chasing. I'm not in the habit of making a change. But let's say I'm brave. Let's say I make a new choice. I'm going to step outside the little hamster door and into the bigger room. A lot of fear could come up, and that fear can feel really bad. That doesn't feel like happiness. That feels like discomfort. That feels like contrast. That feels like fear and scary and anxiety and worry. And so what do I have the tendency to do? I run back inside, right? I think there's something wrong, and I run back inside. So here's the funny thing. That can delay or offset our happiness, and so what I do is I hop back on the wheel and I run because it feels familiar, and that's as close as I ever get to happiness, is something that feels familiar. But the funny thing is that happiness does live inside of us, and we can habituate or condition ourselves to feel happiness whether we're on the wheel or we're in the cage or we're outside the cage in the great big beyond, or even we're meeting the big scary cat. It's just, again, happiness's voice is sometimes much, much quieter and tender than habit or big change. That's what I found. What do you think of that? Have you found that to be true? Change.
Well, I feel like the making it is sneaky like that. Because you do the big change, but you don't make it when you do the big change. You do the big change and it feels like crap because it's like so different and you're so uncomfortable and you're throwing new ideas at people and they're like, who are you? We don't even know you. You're not the person we used to know. And you're making changes in your behavior and you're making changes in your lifestyle and it feels really uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden, when things click into place, it's actually a quieter shift. When you wake up on New Year's and you go, I'm going to have a great year. I don't know what that means exactly.
It means it's inside.
Yeah, because it's
not... And you're talking about making that shift.
Right, because you do have the courage.
Yes.
You have the courage, and then you've taken the steps. And then there's that piece, and maybe just really address that piece where before everything is fully clicking, because you do the shifts like you help people do. You help people make those shifts. But there's that piece of time in between the shift and the life changes where you're like, what's this, you know?
Yes. So I'm really glad you brought that up, Erica. Thank you for sharing that with the viewers because I think that will resonate with people. It resonates with me. I think the way I was raised in the world was that if I don't feel good right now, then I don't have fill in the blank. Success, accomplishment, satisfaction, happiness, confidence. It's only when I see the product that I can have it. It's only when I see the product or the result that I can have it.
Yeah.
But that is not true. And that's what I want to explore today. I want to be that powerful stand for people to know discomfort happens in the change, and we can still be happy in the discomfort. See, we cannot feel good necessarily because we're in the discomfort of the change, and we can still be happy. And you know how I've loved to speak about confidence in the past. So I'm just going to mention happiness and confidence kind of, you know, they're best friends a lot of the time. And the way they intertwine and the way they add and expand one another is when we take appropriate risks and we succeed. And so the discomfort that we feel, like you said, discomfort, shift, happiness. But we can have happiness while we're going through it too. And that's what I'd like to play with you. Do you want to play with a little exercise? And I want to invite people to play along with us.
Yes, because absolutely right now I've never gone through so much change in 1 year in my entire life. So.
Oh, goody. And
So,
are you a little
yeah.
uncomfortable? I'm hoping you are. Not because I hope you are uncomfortable, but because I think it would be good for everybody to learn. Are you experiencing some discomfort?
I am so incredibly uncomfortable. Can I show my books, my first 2 books?
Yes,
my
please.
series? So these 2 books were released in January and February, and I was just telling Deborah, this one took 13 months, so my first author signed up in January, and it was supposed to come out before last year's Telesummit. You can see the look and feel is the Happiness Telesummit, right? And it took till January this year. Then this book got born. This book was created in like 8 weeks. And then I have another one that'll be out before the summit's done. And as I shifted everything, and I was paying attention to something Deborah taught me last year as well, on where the glass ceiling is and where I'd gotten stuck in the past. So I broke through a lot of my crap, which I like to call it, and right. And I said, I'm going to make powerful choices and not pathetic choices. And then all of a sudden, I was someone different than I was in the past. And it was so flipping uncomfortable. And I've always taught happiness. I've taught happiness for years. Like 7 years I've been paid to teach happiness. You know, who gets to say that, right? I
really?
Yeah, it's like cool. And this year, I'm in so much change that I'm just going to just throw that at you, and I think you can tell. I don't think I don't need to use any more words to show you how different it is right now, and I'm tuning into it, and it's a vibration, or my vibration is shifting, so everyone I'm inviting into my life is changing. And so even though it's not that I was unhappy before, it's like the happiness now is bigger, and the manifestation is really fun because it's happening so much faster, and yet it's just... I think if you could help us right now, and because I'm sure in this time of great change, there's other light workers and light bringers who are going through this, where everything they've asked for is coming, and it feels very different.
I'm really glad you brought that up, Erica, because again, some of that, I get people all the time, clients who call me. That's one of my specialties, is helping people create change fast. But I always want to make sure that they really want it fast, because fast, the faster, the more overwhelmed, discomfort, not quite comfortable we can feel. And again, remember, we have been tranced into believing that if it doesn't feel good, we can't be happy. You can only be happy if it feels good. So that's what this exercise is all about.
Okay, perfect.
And I'm going through a transition right now, too. I'm looking for a place to live. I've finished my 2-year lease, and my landlord wants to sell the house. And I could easily fall back into that old, and some nights I do.
Yeah.
Some nights I do.
Right.
Some nights the fear comes in, that natural insecurity, uncertainty. So again, I want to take a stand for people and say that doesn't negate, like you said, all the good stuff. In fact, the more squeeze we feel, we're going to feel more squeeze the bigger the change and the faster the change we want to make.
Right.
But that doesn't mean we can't be happy. So I want to show how easy it is. It's so freaking easy. Why didn't someone show us this?
Okay.
Okay? So easy. So it's okay for you to be aware of kind of the squeeze, the contrast, the discomfort. And I want you to just close your eyes if it feels comfortable to you. You don't have to. And then just put a hand on your belly. Just put a hand on your belly and feel the warmth of your palm against the skin of your belly. Or you could put it on your heart if that feels more comfortable to you, either way. And I would love for people to do this along with us. And breathe as deeply into your body as you can. See if you can't get that breath all the way down into your belly. And now begin to allow a memory from a time you were really, really happy, Erica. A time when you were happy. It could be any time. When you were young, when you were a young adult. And just let that memory kind of surface up and feel where that memory begins to land in your body. You may feel it in your belly. You may feel it in your heart. You may feel it in your throat. You just want to bubble up and laugh. You may feel it in your face. You may feel it in your head because you may be thinking it more. That's okay. You may feel it across your shoulders. And just notice where that memory of that happiness, that joy, that delight where does that land? And tell me, where do you feel that, Erica? You can open your eyes now. Yeah.
Pretty much all over my body, but definitely like in my stomach area and kind of the base of my body. Like I feel it. It's interesting. I feel it kind of in my lower chakras, which is interesting. Yeah.
Your hips across your low back.
Yeah, like kind of at the base. It feels a letting go of that versus being very tense about those areas.
Nice. And so just get back in touch with that feeling again, because we want to see where it lives and we want to hear its voice. And if it was a color, what color would it be? Just notice what color it is. And if it had a voice, what would its voice sound like? And if it wanted to speak to you and give you a message about what's going on right now, what would it say? And if you had to find it again, just check in, see if you can find it. Listen, look, feel, sense, imagine even that it's there. And as you put your focus on finding it again, can you find it again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's there. It's that easy. It's that close. And no one teaches us to know where happiness lives. Now, happiness, there's different kinds of happiness, can live in different places. But you trusted me. Thank you, Erica, so much. And I trust your soul or spirit or higher self or inspiration or intuition to bring you the perfect memory, to show you where that is, so you can get a sense of how quiet that voice really is, but how it's always there. So even when you're running on the wheel, it's there. Even when you're nervous and freaked out, where am I going to live? When's the book going to get published? Where's that extra author that said they were going to get their stuff? All I have to do is stop, remember where it lives, and I can tune into its quiet voice again. So you can even right now, all you have to do is call it to mind, and you can feel it, can't you?
I love giving it a voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's nice.
And you can even really talk to it and say, what needs to happen, or what can I do to expand you at the same time I'm going through this? See? We have this tendency, maybe as humans, maybe in the Western world, but maybe in just as humans in general, to say things can only be this or that. Well, what if they can be both? And what if I can be really kind of nervous, excited, but both about finding a new place to live or starting a new job, and happy? What if I could be both of those? You know, what if I could be rushed because I have to hit a deadline and happy? What if I could be totally relaxed and happy? What if it's both and? And I think that that's something that could make a real difference for people, is to begin to cultivate, be on the look for, and know where it is, how it resonates, the energy, how it resonates, and then look even further and see, how do I nurture it, foster it? What kinds of things help me keep my happy even when I'm under some sort of stress or pressure?
Well, and it's interesting you brought that up, because I did go there and I was like, okay, I could see putting myself into my zone and kind of feeling that joy and feeling that excitement. And I'm very blessed to have such an interesting life with so many wonderful people in it that there's like good news all the time. It's crazy. And yet I was like feeling that space of how I can, it's interesting. It's like how I can neglect happiness, or how I can like not give it the energy that it wants, or not honoring. Here's something maybe you could share with us. Like, if something really makes me happy, you know, kind of music, or, you know, kind of book, or kind of inspiration, what is it about that like I'm afraid to really trust? Do you know what I'm saying?
Ooh. That's a juicy question, Erica. Way to go straight for the goodies.
Yeah, right? That's why I do this job. How do I trust it? How do I know?
Yeah. Well, I would say in a very general sense, the way we are raised, we're so open, we're so inclusive, we're so unity consciousness when we're little. Remember when your kids were little and they wanted everybody to live together in one big house? We're so open. And then we learn, right? We're conditioned. It's knocked into us that you can't trust life, that you can't trust yourself, that you have to listen to people outside you, that someone else knows better, that someone else is grading you, that you need their opinion. And it takes different forms for different people. But let's just say there's part of that human mind, not mind, brain, part of the human brain that doesn't want to take the chance that we'll ever be hurt and killed. And so it's so overly cautious. And then the fear of all the adults add to that. So somewhere along the line, some of us, not all of us, but some of us may learn something like, it isn't safe. It isn't safe to give myself fully to my happiness. Something bad could happen. And it's going to be different reasons for different people why that happens, Erica. But if I were working with you and you said to me, I want to expand my happiness or I want to feel more happiness, I would be shouting hallelujah right now and saying happiness just spoke to you and said, if you want more of me, this is where you start. Right there, right where you came up with. That's what can be eased. And I will tell you that I personally find, it's not about grabbing that belief out. It's about transitioning it out and giving it something to support it. Whatever the need is, there's a need for safety, security, faith, trust, believability, certainty, proof. I don't know what it is for you, but whatever it is, when you answer the need, then you won't have to have the fear. That's what will happen. When you answer the need, you won't have to have the fear. And it's going to be a little different. It's going to be personal for you. It's going to be a little different than it is for somebody else. Do you see how that could be the case?
Yeah, nothing's ever the same for me as anyone else.
Nothing's ever the same for anybody. Nothing's ever the same for anybody. We all came from very different backgrounds. Right. Some would say from perfect backgrounds for us to do the work that we're doing in the world.
Right.
Right? There are many teachers believe that that at some level we've agreed to be wounded in the way we have so that we can do the work that we do.
Right. So tell us when someone is sort of, let's say, I think you talked about the pressure, and we both have kind of lifestyles that have a lot going on and have a lot of expectations, and right, and we choose to do really big work in the world, that's all. Tell me about, I'm feeling, and I'm just going to trust that since I'm the...
Go with it. Erica, I always encourage you to go with your gut.
Right. I want to ask for an insight into depression. I want to ask for an insight into Eeyore. I want to ask for insight into the way of being in the world. Now, this is something I get a lot from my Happiness Telesummit listeners, is I wake up in a good mood, and my blank is Eeyore. My coworker is Eeyore. My mother is Eeyore, and I'm saying Eeyore for those of you who are not from this country. This is a four-legged being who sees the sort of the glass half empty and everything is always terrible. So Eeyore is in a Winnie the Pooh character, and because again I have to honor those people from all over the world listening who might know who Eeyore is. So for those of us who have, and I always forget the camera on me when I'm talking, but for those of us who have those individuals in our lives who, and I hear this a lot when I'm teaching happiness, is I'm okay. I wake up, I'm renewed, I have all these resources, I have books, I have audios, I have good people like Deborah to hang out with. Not everyone does. So for those people who are either stuck in depression, and again, this is not psychotherapy, we're not doctors. I'm not
Yes.
a doctor. Some of my guests are doctors, some, but I'm not. I want to just ask for, when I ask these questions about the Eeyore mentality and the depression and the just don't even want to get out of bed anymore kind of feeling, you know, you are someone who really isn't afraid of these kinds of realities, and maybe just share with us a few things that can help people either who are in this space themselves, and of course I ask like humongous questions because otherwise life's really boring. So who are in the space themselves, or maybe they caretake someone who is, or their parent is, something like that.
You never cease to amaze me, Erica. You just never cease to amaze me. These were not the questions we had, but this is what came to you, and I absolutely honor that these are the questions that are on the minds and hearts of the people who are signing up and looking for this. So I want to just thank you for being bold and for being tapped into your guidance, because I do have something to say about depression or about being around people who can bring us down. I just want to be very careful about how I say this. And again, I'll give the preamble that we're not doctors and we're not telling anybody to get on or off any kind of medication or any of that. Yes. Right. However, I look at emotions in general a little bit differently because I look at them as very powerful guidance.
Nice.
Or having the potential for very powerful guidance. And I look at what I like to think of the main emotions, and then I look at what are the tangled emotions. So there's really only 6 emotions: mad, sad, glad, disgust, surprise, and fear. Those are the pure emotions. Those emotions will run right through us unimpeded and wear themselves out and bring us the message if we only listen and let them go and don't hold on to them. But there are other emotions like disappointment, frustration, depression, shame, guilt, worry, jealousy. And these are what I like to call tangled emotions. They're more than one, all tangled together, which can make them very complicated to work with and play with, and which can make it very difficult to hear, feel, see, sense happiness underneath. There's a big tangle on top, yeah?
Yeah.
So depression is one of those tangles. And so when I work with somebody who is feeling depressed or talk to someone who's feeling depressed, I will never make a pronouncement like depression is this. Yes, I notice that for many people, depression is something that comes in to help them cope. Yes, I see that for many people, depression is sometimes the loss of something. Yes, I see the depression is merely holding back creativity or creative force in many people. But it's different for everyone, just the way we talked about. Depression has a message for us as well.
I'm gonna pause you right there, Deborah, because I want to just add to what you said and say depression is giving you a message. Depression is coming for a reason, and just like we trust our happiness, it is telling us something. There's a message in the depression, or a message in the, the copious amounts of negativity or crap that are hanging out around us. And one thing I'm just really wanting to share with the audience that's listening right now, to Deborah and myself, that what Deborah just said to me, even though you want to help someone who has a negativity bent, one of the greatest things you can do is to work on yourself, because they may need to process certain things. And what Deborah just said to you was just really felt like a bell ringing, because it felt like it was people needing to do certain things, and that even though we want to have them change, have them feel happy, have them feel the way we feel, it's like there is something that you said that really touched me in a way of saying it is also a message that someone else is perceiving and learning from that is part, it doesn't mean that it can't be changed at all. And yet, maybe that felt really big, and I just kind of wanted to honor you for saying that.
Yeah, I can see that that has touched you, Erica. And I hope it touches other people as well. I hope they find some hope that whether someone suffers from depression or someone they know suffers from depression, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily something that's wrong. It could be one step on a very sacred path to opening to something else, mourning a loss, reconnecting to creativity and hope and faith, like you were saying. It may be that they're an extremely sensitive person. I've had some depression, and that, for me, that's what it's been for me, is that when the world gets too much, I feel myself depress because it's too much. Now, I've learned other coping skills, other resources, and so it could be that too, that people don't have the resources. So I encourage people to get some support. And of course, I have to say, if anyone is suffering for severe depression, go get help immediately. Immediately. Do not wait. Reach out. And if someone doesn't listen to you, reach out to someone again. Okay? Enough said about that.
Thank you.
So what that is, since we're talking about happiness, I do want to encourage everybody, because depression or any feeling, anger, frustration, disappointment, disrespect, that can all be a gateway to happiness. It can be a gateway. You got to go through the gateway to unleash more of the happiness. Get someone to help you. That's what I would say about that.
I love it. Thank you.
I will also say that we talked about the discomfort of change. And this is one tricky way, my little drunk monkey, or whatever you want to call it, my inner critic, it will, when I'm on the way to changing and I'm right in the middle of change, now it's one way I know I'm changing, is that I will feel depressed. I'll be moping in the kitchen, and then all of a sudden I'll go, what am I moping for? There's nothing wrong. And then I'll go, that cheeky monkey, that little inner critic, it's trying to sidetrack me and tell me things aren't working right because they're different. And for me, I'm just sharing for me, that means I need to feel safe, I need to take better care of myself, more rest, a walk, and then all of that goes away. It's amazing. It just goes away. So depression can be an indicator of something else as well. It's a personal thing. Now, Eeyores, people who are just not seeing the happiness.
Just don't get
That's the imitation of Eeyore I could give. We all know someone like that. First of all, I want to say there's a gift in people like that, okay? First of all, I want to say that, Erica. There's totally a gift in people like that. You just don't use them or ask their opinion about things that don't utilize the gift. So the gift is, let's say you have your Hotel Summit set up, and you want to make sure that you anticipate any potholes. You go to the Eeyore person and you say, okay, poke holes in my plan. And they say, here's where it'll never work. And then you go, thank you, that's the weak spot, I can take care of that. So I just want to say that there's a strength in Eeyore people. You just don't make them the party planner. You use them to get their guidance about what could go wrong because they have an ability to see that. Okay, that's one thing, right? Right? Yeah, lemonade out of lemons, baby.
I love
it. There is a strength, and that is a temperament, by the way. Some people have that temperament. So I would have to deal with a person who felt like they were an Eeyore to talk to them a little bit more to see if they wanted to be less Eeyore and more, more Erica, more happy, bouncy. Then there would be a way to make that transition. For those of us who have a hard time being around Eeyores, again, there's a gift in that. Like Katie Byron would say, there's always a gift. We can look at, what gets triggered in us because they're not happy, and we can do our own work. And that's the work that opens the cap off of happiness for us as well, right? So there's another gift. There's a double gift in that. And I would also say it's a really good time to be much clearer about our choices. What is the energy I want to hang out in? Do I want to suffer trying to change an Eeyore? Or do I want to bless them, let them be, they're on their path too, and do I want to go hang out in the sunshine, or like-mindedness, or preference?
And I have to say, it's funny that you said it like that, like it's his choice, because in my experience, people that can't handle your light just will kind of fade out. It may or may not be conscious. And so you also have to kind of have this thing. For me, it's a willingness of opening up to the greatness that I can bestow, because I can help so many people in the world when I'm tuned into that part of me that is conscious. And there are people for whom then I am so uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because everything's so much easier now. And they're like, wait, I like the Erica that was like struggling to have everything work, right? And they felt comfortable with that Erica, and that's okay. But I've seen in the last 2 years such an amazing shift in my life. And for me, it's fascinating, Deborah, because I have to keep going back to how quickly can it happen, and we've opened up with this, that you teach people to do things quickly.
Yes.
And to let go of attachment to change happening slowly. Because
Erica,
it's much easier, right?
That's so fantastic. There's no reason to chase after the herd of Eeyores and say, wait a minute, I want back in your herd so I can try to change you and be distracted and not do my work in the world. That's very true. So I think that's a good point to bring up for people. I think people will really relate to that. How can we kind of bring this to a close and put kind of a little cherry on top? Did that answer the question you had, Erica?
I felt a huge wave of energy of people that were seeking information about tough questions on this summit. And I just threw them at you, and you answered them with so much grace. So I'm very blessed about that. I'd like you to tell me a little bit about thebeingcoach.com and a little bit more about the work you're doing in the world and how people can connect with you and learn more from your beautiful gifts.
Thank you, Erica. I would be happy to do that. I'll keep it brief. I call myself the Being Coach because here's what I find, myself included. We know enough. We do enough. We even have enough, but we're still chasing. We're still those little hamsters. What I find is that when we can bring our being, who we are, our values, the essence, the energy, in alignment with what we're doing, then the doing is no longer futile. It's very, very effective, and we start seeing results fast. They may not be exactly what we want. They're usually better, but they happen quickly. So that's why I call myself the Being Coach, and people can reach out to me. They can reach out to me at info@thebeing, B-E-I-N-G, thebeingcoach.com. My website is moving right now, too, from Answering the Sacred to thebeingcoach.com, but they can find me at thebeingcoach.com.
I'll put that link right here, too. For
that would be fine. That would be great. Thank you. Thank you, Erica. And they can reach out to me. For your viewers, I have a little recording and a handout so that they can work through that process I worked with you. I'm going to take them through that process so it would be personal to them.
Yay.
They can do that process on their own. Yes, outside. So that's my free gift. And they are more than welcome to reach out. I'm happy to talk to anyone for 20 minutes to see if working on happiness or an emotional issue with me would be something that would work for people. They can contact me that way.
So thank you so much, Deborah.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Erica. This has been fun.
Go on over to the link right now and get your free gift that Deborah is sharing with you, because why not? You're just going to get happier, so you might as well, right? Thank you so much, Deborah.
You're welcome, Erica. Thank you for having me here.
Sure.